Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have some replays, one in the IS-7 and one in the IS-4. So it's Battle of the IS tanks. Now, I have spoke about these tanks a number of times. I've done a tank versus tank, IS-4 versus IS-7, just to see what's better stat-wise and what feels better to play with, and sort of just what's more comfortable and what generally does better. Now, overall, the IS-4 does a better job. It has a better armor. It has a better sort of front plate, and it's overall, I think it's just an all-round good tank. The gun isn't the greatest, but the armor profile for a new player joining the game, I'd always recommend people going up the IS-4 line first, at least before the IS-7 line, because the IS-7 is not the easiest tanks to play. Yes, it has the armor profile. You can get your bounces in that, but most of the bounces are kind of just troll bounces. If you go for the bounce, I mean, the bottom plate is very weak, and of course, when you start to angle your tank, you become a lot weaker. Your pike nose becomes a lot weaker. However, the IS-4 doesn't have that pike nose, and that's why it is, in my opinion, a much better tank. It performs better. I do get a lot more replays in the IS-4 than I do of the IS-7. In fact, the IS-7, I don't really receive too many replays in, but we're going to get back to these battles. We are watching 9JA, and he is in the platoon with Deadman Warrior in the M6 Yo, and they pretty much pushed all the way around to the spawn, the enemy spawn area. 2 tanks on their team are already down, but they do have some big tanks here that they can clear. Not quite sure why he was going for the E100 there and not the E3, because the E3 was a one-shot, so not quite sure why he would do that. But I think he's going to make up for it in the end. He is now going to go for the E3. He bounces, he's shot. I think he rushed the shot a little bit. Didn't want to get shot from the E3, so he did kind of rush his shot. So at the moment, it's not going too well. It's not going too well. His team are down again. There's a AMX-50B, sorry, here, and he is going to push forward, and now he is a one-shot, so he's going to get up close, and this is the best position to kind of be in, sort of angled, face-hugging, but angled, because if you are face-hugging, people will be able to switch to APCR and just sort of be able to penetrate you nice and easy. So now he is going switching to the heat just to get that pen on that E3, and he does manage to get the kill, but it's a 3 versus 4, him and the Jaegeru there, or the Jaegeru's now dead. So he is a one-shot, but his platoon mate in an OP tank is pretty much full hit points. But there's also a full hit point T95 coming behind. But they need to go for the most dangerous tanks first. Of course, the tank closest to him is dangerous, the T95, because he's very, very close. But he just manages to get out of the way there from the T95. But of course, turning his back on all the other tanks that are around that area, like the Sheridan, who is heading towards him. Now, I'm not sure why the Sheridan, again, not sure why the Sheridan would go for the Yo, or anyone else, to be honest. They're all going for the full hit point tank. The Sheridan could have actually just rushed and YOLO'd and killed our IS-4 here, and that would have been pretty much game over. So instead, he goes for the Yo again. There he goes for the Yo. Why? I do not know, and because of that, he is going to end up dying from the Yo. So it's 2 kills each now from these platoon guys. Our guy here, he's now dead. Oh, what a perfect time to get an ammo rack. Like, how perfect. Fuck you, cunt, says his platoon mate. Okay, so yeah, he got very lucky there. He got very, very lucky there indeed. That's put him up to 6.6k damage. Whether he's deserved it, I'm not too sure. Hasn't bounced too much, to be honest. He's only bounced 1 shot at 280. But thanks to that amazing ammo rack at the most perfect time, he manages to pull off the win. 7,495 damage. Now, yes, he did get a little bit lucky there. The T-57 actually had a really good game as well. But as a platoon, him and his platoon mate, I mean, what, nearly 11k damage between them, which is most of the damage done in this game. But I do feel he got pretty lucky with that battle. So moving on, we're going to watch an IS-7, and we are watching Kuro Eindburn. And as I've said, I'm not a great lover of the IS-7. It's okay. The more I play it now, the more I don't mind it. Where a few years ago, it was kind of OP, and then it kind of got easy to deal with, and then I sort of stopped enjoying it. The last video I made, I was playing it, and I kind of enjoyed it a little bit, but I still prefer the IS-4 over this tank. I do still prefer it. This does have the higher alpha. It is a 130mm, so it can perform. If you can go hold down, then you will get bounces. The turret is extremely strong. It does have some weak points on the turret either side of the gun. So yeah, if you are hold down, maybe it is good to sort of wiggle your turret, and then it becomes very, very difficult to penetrate. It doesn't quite have the gun depression, but yeah, it's a Russian heavy. It's got fantastic armor put into the right position. Then it's got really nice armor. Just hide the pike nose, hide your bottom plate. Then that's all you need to do in this. Whereas the IS-4, all you really need to do is hide the bottom plate, and you will bounce shot for days. So the last game, the IS-4, yes, he did get very lucky. He's still done a great amount of damage, but can our guy here in the IS-7 perform better? And will it perform better as a tank? Will the tank perform better? Not just the player, will the tank perform better? So the IS-4, the last battle, didn't really, I mean, he was a one-shot, and he didn't really bounce anything. He bounced about 230, 280, something like that. Let's see if the IS-7 can actually bounce a bit more than the IS-4 did. So 1200 damage at the moment. The E75 hasn't had a good day. 1.5 minutes into the game, and he is gone. And now the E100 has started to push, which he's caught that on, and he's just backed up behind this hill. And there's really nothing at this point. There's nothing that E100 can do. So looking around, I think he's just decided that pushing this E100 is probably the best decision he can do. He's got tanks to his right here. He's got a few tanks here. So he has cover. He does have cover. Now, the only thing, the worst thing I think with the IS-7 is the ammo rack. It's one of the easiest tanks to ammo rack, especially if you are coming up something like a Death Star. If you're angled at the Death Star, then all the FV and any other big tank has to do is shoot the pike nose, and you will explode. Not just the pike nose, also if you come out sideways, if they kind of hit directly in the middle of the track, above the track, sorry, then that could ammo rack as well. So there's a few places that you can get ammo racked in the IS-7, which makes it very hard to play, especially when you do come up against these big guns. If you try and angle against these big guns, and then it doesn't pay off, and then you just get ammo racked. Now, in the description of this guy, he also said that he's never aced this tank before. He had never aced this. It is quite a difficult tank to ace. Very difficult tank to ace. Now, he gets a nice bounce there against the waffle, which is good. I do always say, like, when you do come up against these big guns, or when you come up against anyone really, instead of trying to angle your tank, just go directly at them. Just face directly at them, and you've got more chance of bouncing that way. Yes, your bottom plate is kind of weak, but it means both sides of the pike nose that it is quite difficult to pen. So it's a lot easier to just directly face them than trying to angle where sort of the side, like this side now, the left side of your pike nose will be weak to this this waffle, and pretty much easy, not easy, but high chance of getting ammo racked as well. But you can get the bounces, even though it doesn't look like you can get bounces. You can sometimes aim at the IS-7, it's grey, you shoot and it bounces, and again there, shoot from the side, bounce, and again from the front, bounce. So you can get the bounces. you can easily get the bounces in this tank. You can see they're shooting sort of the pike nose right in the middle, and that's pretty much the strongest part of the pike nose. So 3.8k damage now, and he's performed really well at the moment. Hasn't lost too many hit points, and it is a 2 versus 3, unfortunately. He does get a nice shot there into the WZ, but now he has to push forward because these medium tanks are coming around, and he really wants to clear this heavy tank. It's a dangerous target, and he is low hit points, and if he's got a high roll, which he has, there's a possibility that he can just kill him in one shot. But it is now a 1 versus 3, so to win this game he does need a Klobanov, and he does have the hit points, and he does get a nice high roll into that guy. Just when you need it, he gets a high roll, just like the other game really. Just when he needs it, he gets an Amarak, and this guy, just when he needs it, he gets a high roll. Now he does have to be very careful because the Object 140 has great DPM. If they both push him together, then it will be game over, because the Centurion can just get behind him, load up the Hesh, and you will be able to Hesh this IS-7 from behind. But he decides to just sit where he is. He is hiding his pike nose. He's kind of over angling, but at this in this kind of position, it's still a very difficult tank to pen. If you still, no matter how angled you are, because it's Russian, it does have sides, it does have spaced armor, it is quite a difficult pen. So he is going for the Centurion. Good choice there. He is a one shot, and now with 1 minute 40 left on the clock, 5,994 damage. He has blocked 2,000 damage as well, so he's blocked a really good amount of damage that has really helped him, especially from that waffle. He bounced almost 1,500 or so damage just from the waffle alone. So now he has to push this guy. He has no choice but to push him. He does have the hit points. He can clear him easily. Even if they go out and out, he can clear him. And what a lovely high roll he gets there. 575 brings this guy now down to a 2-shot. And with 1 minute left on the clock, 2,710 block damage. And all he has to do at this point is just push him. No matter how much the DPM of the Object 140 is, it's still going to be too much, too many hit points, and he hasn't got as many. Now 3,000 blocked damage. Now he's going to get one more shot into him to bring him down to a 1-shot, and at this point he's just going to go and ram this guy, and he's going to do a good amount of damage. I mean, he's not even going fast there, but he still manages to get the ram kill. So over 3,000 blocked damage, and he ends on 7,100 damage. Top Gun, high caliber. He gets the Radleys, he gets a Stillwall, and he gets a well-deserved Klobanov. So out of both of them games, you would actually think the IS-7 performs much better than the IS-4. It can perform. I'm not saying it can't perform. It can perform really well in games sometimes. But overall, I still think that the IS-4 is a better grind and a better tank to play. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. What tank do you prefer? Do you prefer the IS-7 or do you prefer the IS-4? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Meadsy. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye. With